on Control TV. I am Gimba Umar. Today we're looking at Mr. President Donald Trump, the President of the United States, statement about Nigeria, saying that Nigeria is indeed a particular uh, country of interest. Joining us to have this discussion is Bish Johnson. He's been with the United States military and he's back home here in Nigeria. I just couldn't think about someone else better to have this discussion with other than Bish. Bish, you're welcome to this program.
Thank you for having me, Gimba.
I mean, first off, Nigeria's President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is off to the United States to have a meeting with Donald Trump. Would you advise that he does that?
Well, certainly yes, because Nigeria has to. We have to uh, do whatever we can to de-escalate the situation, and the president needed to be there to explain the current situation of things in Nigeria to the U.S. president. I'm sure that the U.S. president did not just wake up and issue that warning. He has been briefed. People have been talking to him on what is going on in Nigeria. And so it's also important that he also hears from the other side of the equation. And so I think that the president's visit to Mr. Trump is a good way to try to, probably bring him up to speed to the current situation of things in Nigeria and to also de-escalate the situation.
I mean, Bish, you have ample knowledge about the United States military asking the Pentagon to stand by. I can imagine that that has happened to some other countries where, the Americans, wherever they have their hands in, it turns out to be a turn for the worse for those countries. Hopefully, we'll not get to that point, as you say. You're hoping for a de-escalation of these kind of threats that we're seeing coming from the United States. But you can take a look at the optics. Why do you think that uh, possibly maybe 2 decades of insurgents in Nigeria, 2 decades of Boko Haram in Nigeria, about 5 years of kidnappings or kidnappers, and of course, banditry spanning about 7 years, all this culminating to one statement from the United States president. Is that being fair?
And I,
Can you hear me, Bish?
I can hear you. I didn't get that last question.
Yes, I was saying that with the culmination of years, possibly 2 decades of Boko Haram operating in Nigeria, carrying out so many killings on both sides. I mean, Islamically, or the Christian way, they're killing Christians, they're killing
Gimba,
Muslims. Is
let's
this
try another. Let's try another line, Gimba.
okay? You'd like to join me on another line?
Yes, let me try another line
Okay,
because this line now.
it seems you're having a terrible network. Okay, you can just take your time to do that. But for our viewers, those who are watching us right now, we are indeed looking at President Donald Trump's statement on Nigeria being a country of particular interest and asking the Pentagon to stand by, saying that Christians have been killed in Nigeria and that he will not have that under his watch in the country or in the world, as it were. And so, uh, what we know at this point is that Nigeria's president Bola Ahmed Tinubu is on his way to the United States. By tomorrow, he should be jetting in there before the Americans come in with guns just flying everywhere. But we're talking to Bish Johnson, who has had ample, you know, experience about the United States military because he's been part of it, and he's retired now, back in Nigeria. Bish, are you still with me? Bish, are you still with me? Okay, brilliant. I can
I'm
see
with
you now.
you.
Can you hear me now?
I
Okay,
can hear
brilliant. I
you.
can hear you loud and clear as well. And you have better lighting, so that works for me. My second question to you was that with the culmination of years of insurgency, especially in the Northeast. You remember the Chibok episode, the Chibok girls. You also remember how killings were done in mosques as well as in churches. Is it a fair statement for Donald Trump, knowing that he gets the best kind of intels across the world? Is it a fair enough statement for Donald Trump to say that Nigeria is a country of particular interest?
We can't have a country where we normalize this level of violence for almost.
Oh, the lines are really going crazy. The network is. I hope our network is also not on the siege. Vish.
Is really crazy. The other side now is.
Okay, whichever side you can use both. Actually, I can see you on both sides. So, um, if you could get it up, that will make a whole lot of sense for us, just so we can have this conversation fair and square. Do you think that Donald Trump's position is fair on Nigeria?
No, Gimba, you see, the violence that has been going on, the killing, the bloodshedding that has been going on in this country has been going on for far too long, close to a decade, or more than a decade, close to 2 decades or even more. And we cannot have a country where we normalize this level of violence. And successive governments, although they claim that they have tried, but it's obvious that whatever effort that was put in place by those previous governments was not enough to end the level of violence and bloodshed in this country. And so, if somebody elsewhere believes violence, because if you look at those, yes, Muslims are being killed, Christians are being killed, but who are those perpetrating these killings? Who are those killing people? Boko Haram is an Islamic terrorist organization. Let's look at why the Boko Haram exists. Boko Haram exists because he said he wants to establish an Islamic state within Nigeria to be governed by Sharia. And so Boko Haram, an Islamic terrorist organization, is killing people, quite true, both Muslims and Christians. But this is an Islamic terrorist organization killing Christians. This is not a Christian organization killing Muslims. It's the other way around. So it's quite easy for people to think that there is a genocide against Christians because those who are perpetrating the killings are Muslims, whether they are Fulani herdsmen or they are Aswab or they are Boko Haram, they are all Islamic organizations. So you can
Bish,
see
Bish,
how
Bish,
people will look at it as Christians being
Bish.
persecuted
If
or
I may
genocide
button,
being committed against Christians in Nigeria.
Bish, if I may button, I listened to the governor of Anambra State, Charles Soludo, who is from your region, which is the eastern region of Nigeria. He said emphatically and without mincing words that killings are also killings of Christians, killings of Muslims by those guys in the bushes is taking place in Anambra State. And it is not necessarily a religious connotation or inflection that Christians are
Look,
killing Christians as well as
yes,
Muslims are killing Muslims. What do you think about his statement?
yes. If you look at what is happening in the southeast at Anambra, for example, that you mentioned, yes, what is happening in Anambra is a situation where Christians are killing Christians. Majority of the deaths in the southeast, particularly Anambra, in fact, most of the states in the southeast are Christians that are killing their fellow Christians. But this is different from what is happening in the middle belt. It's different from what is happening in some parts of northeast and northwest. If you remember, Chibok is in southern Borno state. This is a Christian dominated community being taken over by an Islamic terrorist organization. So it's not Christians that are killing Muslims in Northeast or Northwest or Middle Belt. It is a situation where you have Muslims killing Christians. If Muslims are killing their fellow Muslims, I don't think there will be this level of outrage. But what is happening is that you have Muslims killing Christians, quite different from what is happening in the Southeast and in Anambra, where Christians are killing their fellow Christians.
Bish, are you aware that there are multiple recorded events of Muslims killing Muslims in mosques? I think maybe there are well over 40 incidences, if I'm getting that right from research, that has happened. So, does it make any moral satisfaction to you, or any moral justification, as it were, that you consider that those in the middle belt of Nigeria and those in the northern part of Nigeria are being killed otherwise?
I didn't get the last part of your question because the line was breaking up.
Bish, I'm just asking you if you know from research there have been multiple attacks on Muslim praying grounds in mosques by the same Muslims who are doing these killings. Then what would you say of Mr. Trump's final assumption? I could call it that.
I,
That Christians are being
I
killed.
am
I mean, these are Muslims that are killing Muslims. So
no doubt.
is it a religious permissible narrative to say that Muslims are killing Christians?
No doubt. No doubt that Muslims are killing their fellow Muslims. No doubt. Everybody knows that. There have been attacks on mosques. There's been attacks on several Muslim entities. There is no question about that. Now, are you there? Are you there, Gimba?
I mean, yes, go ahead. Go ahead. I can hear you.
Now, you need to understand this, right? Donald Trump, Donald Trump came to power because the reason why we are talking right now is because the US president got involved. And I don't know if you read my article today where I warned that the directive of the US president must be taken seriously and that there is need for government to rein in these criminal elements, be they terrorists or insurgents or bandits or non-government, whatever the case may be, there is need for government to rein them in. Because we cannot have a country where we have normalized violence, where we have normalized insecurity, because this insecurity is gone on for too long. And that is the argument that I need the Tinubu administration to be making. The Tinubu administration cannot make a broad general argument that the various governments in Nigeria have been taking serious measures to deal with the level of insecurity in Nigeria. They should be making a case for themselves, just Tinubu administration, that look, we've only been in office for 2 years. And this is what we have done within the 2 years. They should not take ownership of Muhammad Buhari's administration or Goodluck Jonathan's administration. Because if those two administrations had worked hard enough, maybe the Tinubu's administration may not have inherited this insecurity problem that is dealing with right now. It would be more sensible argument for the administration to make. But trying to make an argument that takes ownership of Jonathan's administration and Buhari's administration will be too difficult for them to sell. People are dying in Nigeria on a daily basis, whether they are Christians or Muslims. The level of bloodshed in this country is unacceptable, it's intolerable. And no government should allow that to happen within the bounds of their country. So government should take every decisive measure to ensure that this level of violence does not continue to exist. And that is the argument that this administration ought to be making. Now, look, I don't want a situation where the Trump administration will be given excuse to come into Nigeria because it's a win for the Trump administration. Trump came into office twice with strong support of US evangelical Christians. And he promised them that he will fight for Christians anywhere they are. And so Donald Trump coming to Nigeria is fulfilling his campaign promises to these American Christian evangelical Christians. So we shouldn't give him that excuse to give what in the Republican politics is called red meat, to give red meat to his supporters. This is a president that is very sensitive to the feelings of his core supporters. And these American evangelical Christians are one of those core supporters of Donald Trump. And so, if Donald Trump comes into Nigeria, it's a huge credit for him, his internal and local politics in the United States. So this is where
Okay,
what we need to.
Bish,
That's
Bish,
what we need
if
to
we were
avoid.
to, okay, my apologies, Bish. I'm also looking at this from as many angles as I can, from many sectors. The economy, for instance, we know what is happening in Nigeria is a big win, especially for the Dangote refiner, having one of the biggest, single line uh, refinery that supplies virtually the whole of Africa. And he just made a statement just a few days ago that he was increasing capacity as well, and that will mean lesser dependence on the US or even the UK for anything fossil fuel. Do you see this as part of the matrix that Trump wants to, kick off just so that that doesn't happen?
I don't know if I don't know if there's any relation between Dangote's refinery and the killings in Nigeria. Gimba, you agree with me that these killings have been going on for more than 2 decades. The Dangote refinery just it's something that just started yesterday. Had we not had this level of killings, the kidnappings, the banditry, the insurgency, the terrorism, had we not had it for this too long, Donald Trump would not have any reason to come into Nigeria. We provided the reason. And the reason we provided is because successive government of Nigeria has failed to rein in those in high places. They protect themselves with the security, and ordinary people are led to their own device to be slaughtered and to be massacred by Fulani herdsmen and Islamic fundamentalist terrorist organizations like Boko Haram and IS.
Okay, 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 Bish.
Yes.
Yes, I can hear you, Bish.
Okay, you're
Okay,
there. Did you have?
I lost you for a few seconds there, but
Okay.
I'm also looking at this. I'm just trying to make sense out of it, just so that we're well guided. Now,
Okay.
these killings that have started, if I remember from the 1980s when we started with the group that is called Metasine, and to what we now have as present day Boko Haram, that is metamorphosed. The different coloration, different names, and just keep evolving like that. We had the latest one should be either kidnapping or banditry. That's what the army have always fought. I do remember that they just uh, past Chief of Defense Staff General Christopher Musa has said it repeatedly that we must not let the Sahel to fall. There is a war going on in Sudan now, and a lot of upheavals that is going on there, and that's just looking at the Sahel region towards Nigeria. If anything should happen to the Sahel, Nigeria, according to him, will be done with. Is the target the Sahel? Did you get my question, Bish?
No, I didn't get your question. I lost you for a bit. The question
Okay,
is that if
I'm
something
saying
goes
that
wrong in the Sahel as
no,
it is right now, that Nigeria will be impacted.
yes, absolutely. And this was
Yes.
the pronunciation of the former Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa. He said that we must not allow the Sahel to fall. As a matter of fact, he wanted a fence to be built to like a perimeter fence across Nigeria. He said that that will help. It has helped in Afghanistan. It has helped in many other countries. So why not Nigeria?
Yes.
If the Sahel should fall, what will be the resultant effects on Nigeria?
Yes. You see, yes, I listened to that comment by the former chief of defense.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, Bish. Bish, you can go ahead. I can hear you.
Okay, so I do agree with him on that assessment that should Sahel and all these our neighboring countries. Of course, it will have an impact, in our country, and it is having an impact in our country because something has gone wrong in the Sahel, and this boils down to our ability to be able to manage our borders. I have been one of those proponents that believe that we cannot rein in the insecurity in Nigeria unless and the chaos in the Sahel is spilling over to Nigeria because a lot of all these countries are poor. They see Nigeria as the United States of America, where they can pour in, just like you have people from Latin America pouring into the United States. And this is what is happening in Nigeria. And so I do agree with the Chief of Defense Staff that we need to take every measures, including the use of fence. Places that we can build fence, let's build fence. Areas that we cannot build fence, we can use technology. Areas we can use technology, we can use human beings. But let us combine series of measures of security to rein in our borders, manage our borders, and control the inflow of people into our country. Most times we don't know who they are, and we don't know for what reasons they are in our country. And most of the times, these people are here to perpetrate these crimes. The banditry that you see in the Northwest is mostly about the Nigerian natural resources. Some of those bandits are being funded by countries in our neighboring countries, politicians in those places to come here, kidnap people for ransom, and it is seen as a very lucrative commercialized enterprise in those countries. If you come here
Indeed,
and you do it
indeed,
once and
indeed, Bish. But that's not the only dimension towards resource control and trying to get Nigerians, have a piece of part of that pie, which the American government has been accused of right now because they're playing catch up with China, they're playing catch up with France, they are playing catch up with even the UK. Perhaps that is the reason why Trump is after Nigeria, using the guise of religious genocide. Uh, what do you make of that?
you see, listen, Gimba, this whole issue came up. This whole issue came up when it was raised on the floor of the U.S. Senate by Senator Ted Cruz from the great state of Texas. And in the United States, there are very few countries, states in America where you have large population of Nigerians than Texas, particularly in the Houston area, Sugarland area of Houston. And these are Nigerians that are doing very, very well. Highly educated population, highly influential population, very wealthy population. Most of them are conservatives that contribute to Ted Cruz's campaign. So he has people in the United States. He's listening to Nigerians on what is happening in Nigeria. Don't think that Senator Ted Cruz may know more about Nigeria than most Nigerians even know about themselves. This is where this whole thing originated from. There are Nigerians who are talking to him and who are telling him things that are happening in Nigeria. And rightly so, those things are happening in Nigeria because there is nobody in this country who does not know that this country, the level of insecurity in this country is intolerable. We must rein in insecurity in Nigeria. Nobody should die, whether they are Muslims or Christians, nobody should die unjustly and prematurely. That is the responsibility of government. Every responsible government, their number one priority, don't leave other things. protect lives and property
What
of
do you think?
citizens.
What do you think President Tinubu will be carrying along as his defense to the White House?
What do I think as his defense to the White House?
Yes. What do you think that what will he be telling? What should he be telling Trump?
I think what he needs to be telling Trump is, look, I just came into office. Okay, I am barely 2 years in this position, and this is what we have achieved within the 2 years that we have been in office. That is what I think the president ought to be telling Donald Trump. Just like Donald Trump, he's been in office for just about a year. You don't expect that the president should do magic to end insecurity that has been going on for 2 decades just in 2 years. That is a defense that Mr. President needs to take to President Trump. If he goes off that and start trying to take ownership of Muhammadu Buhari's failed administration in terms of insecurity and the Goodluck Jonathan's disastrous administration in terms of insecurity, he's going to lose it because
That's
everybody
a good
around the
place.
globe, everybody in the world knows the level of what has been going on in Nigeria for more than 2 decades now. And so he should not take ownership of 2 decades of madness and inability of government to rein in insecurity in Nigeria.
Thank you, Bishop Johnson, for giving us your thoughts on this very thorny and very dicey one, I must say. Uh, the United States president calling Nigeria a country of particular interest. But I must sincerely thank you, and
Thank
for everyone who's
you.
been a part of it. Don't forget, you can always watch this right here on Control TV. The program is Front Row Politics. Bishop Johnson has always been a friend and a confidant, one who has always stepped up to the occasion anytime we call you, and we do appreciate you for that.
Thank you very much.
And to everyone, we hope that Nigeria doesn't go into some kind of face off with the United States. It would be bad for us. But that's where we'll call it a wrap at this time. We'll see you next time. I'm Gimba Umar. Bye for now.